This episode already ranks a very high in my top 5, maybe even top 3. Why? Because there's a red versus blue reference in here. What, like the Puma? Okay, maybe it wasn't, maybe it was. I don't know, it sounded like one to me. Alright, so, the first episode of Season 2, and I already say thank you, show. Every technical problem I had with Volume 1 or Season 1 or whatever is gone. Seriously, the animation looks a bit nicer, there's no more black silhouette extras, characters actually have shadows now. The movements and facial expressions match up a lot more. The voice acting's gotten better. The faces look more expressive. Everything feels like it's just been bettered and fixed. And we're introduced to some new characters. First, in 2 new villains. A chick named Emerald and a dude named Mercury. Emerald is, well, dark-skinned, black or whatever, and has green hair. Mercury is your sort of anime-ish dude, typical anime male protagonist with a serious and sort of fun edge to him named Mercury. And yeah. Anyways, these 2 are in town, and they go to this bookshop by the name of Tuscan Bookshop. And they're basically just fucking with the guy. But it comes very clear that this guy is not only a faunus, but a member of the White Fang. They figure it out, and this guy, Tuscan, he attacks the 2, but the 2 kill him. It actually felt it almost felt like, very much like the scene from anyone who's watched Inglourious Basterds, like the opening scene in Inglourious Basterds, where they're just trying to, like, pressure him. They're just trying to pressure him to finally just spill the beans or whatever. So that's good. But anyways, I thought Episode 8 had the best fight ever. No. This episode, I think, has the best fight ever. Well, that I've seen so far. The most epic food fight I've ever seen. It actually starts off fairly funny. The Team Juniper and Team RWBY, they're having lunch together. And RWBY compises this giant book of, like, here's what we do before we go back to classes tomorrow. It's just this massive, like, book about that thick, like the Sunday New York Times times 2. It's just that big, I guess. And I love how RWBY just sort of like greets everyone. Hello, sister, friends, wise, hey! And RWBY's like, I want to start this semester off with a bang. To which Yang says, with a very terrible pun, I start my semester off with a yang. Ugh, that's how I felt about it. Very bad pun. Anyways, Nora's like throwing grapes, and Yang is catching them with her mouth. And then, of course, that one thing leads to another, and Wise takes a pie to the face. Ugh, pie. And what does this lead into? Well, the natural transition of that character, Sun, you know, the monkey, the faunus with the tail and very monkey-like personality, talking with a buddy of his. And Michael's just, yeah, because he's played by Michael. Sun is explaining to his friends, like, yeah, this chick, Blake, she's pretty awesome. I don't want to mess things up with her. It's like, you know, keep it a secret that she's a faunus. And then he just wants to introduce his buddy to you know, Team RWBY and Team Juniper, I guess. And they get in there, and it's just the biggest food fight ever. Team Juniper is fighting off against Team RWBY, and it's just, wow. I love it. They're not using their weapons or anything. They're just using anything available, like soda cans, like chickens or turkeys or something, watermelons. Seriously, Yang has, like, they all kind of emulate their own weapons with whatever's available. Yang has 2 turkeys, and she uses them as, like, you know, her gauntlets or whatever. Nora gets a watermelon on a stick and becomes her just magic hammer. Blake at one point gets this cable thing. RWBY just uses her speed, and it just keeps going and going and going. It just gets more and more ridiculous. Yang takes a watermelon to the fucking face, and goes, like, through the roof. John takes 2 turkeys to the face. We get a pretty epic bread, you know, baguette fight between Blake and Piera. Just the exchanges they give on their faces hints at probably something that might happen this season. This volume, I don't know. I'll probably just title these Volume 2, Episode 1 or whatever. Just to not like go right to like episode 17 or whatever. I don't know. We'll see what I do. But yeah, it just gets crazier and crazier and crazier the more it goes on, and it's like, wow, okay, what the hell did I just watch? And then it ends with RWBY kicking everyone's ass, and at the end they all look like they're covered in paintballs or something, paintball paint or whatever. She does this really cool thing where, RWBY's sort of powers her speed. She does this thing with her cape where it's like, she sort of twirls around it. It's kind of like, what's that episode of Justice League, where Flash goes into the Speed Force and he basically just becomes a giant electric arrow as he's fighting Brainiac Luthor, kind of like that. And then, yeah, she manages to like crack the wall. And then, the lead mistress or whatever, head mistress, just comes in, and I thought, well, what's she gonna say? And she's like, don't play with your food, as she does a quick spell to set everything up. And then the dean's like, look, they're just children. Just let them be children. But they're the defenders of the earth. Let them be children. They're not really kids. I assume they're like, late teenagers or early 20s or something. But still, just a pretty damn epic, like, food fight nonetheless. And the music's pretty sweet as well. I just love just how like dramatic and like over the top it gets, but still feels very much in character with the show and the characters themselves. So sweetness. And then it ends with Emerald and Mercury. They report back to Roman, who we learned that Enchantress from, I think it was episode 1 actually. She's Roman's superior. She basically explains, yeah, her name's Cinder. Is like, yeah, we don't need dust anymore. Now we're just gonna focus on other operations and whatnot. Other operations and whatnot. They don't really need dust anymore. Though we learned that Roman's like robberies and operations have actually had quite an effect on like the economy and just the city of Vale in itself, though. So pretty impressive nonetheless. But it's clear that they don't really like, all of them don't really like one another. They all really don't like one another, so it's kind of neat to see, villains, they don't really get along very well. But we'll see where it goes. As it stands, this was just, I think it was a great start to, Volume 2, and yeah, I love that it just improved technically just by a mile. Just everything, like the animation looks sharper and nicer. Characters have shadows, no more silhouette extras. The set pieces and whatnot, like when they're doing cities, they look a bit nicer. They don't just look like something someone made on animation or whatever, some animation program or whatever. And the voice acting feels better, and yeah, food fights and whatnot. So we'll see where this goes. And I do love the opening, the new opening and the new ending. Those look really cool. But that's all I have to say. So, episode 17, I guess, or Volume 2, Chapter 1, Best Day Ever. It's been good. Okay, see you later.